Hey guys, what's up? So I promised you guys I would do more videos. So you guys, if you haven't seen my last video, man, I just dropped that. If you haven't seen my last video, you found out that I am pregnant and I am officially 20 weeks. We did find out that I will be induced in between 38 to 39 weeks. We found that out at my appointment on Thursday. I have another ultrasound this coming Monday, so tomorrow basically, and yeah, we're just really excited to see our sweet baby boy. We're excited to see, how he's growing, how he's doing. We're also going to check on the placenta to see if it has moved from the cervix, so I don't have placenta previa anymore. So we will see if that's still there or if it doesn't really move, but your uterus expands. That's what the doctor told me. But today I'm feeling great, so I thought I would kind of do a how to get pregnant with diabetes, as well as like the first trimester recap with diabetes. So just a little backstory on me and my husband. If you didn't watch my last video, we did go through fertility treatment. We actually found out a year after, so we've been married a year, and we knew after that we wanted to try to have a baby. So I came off birth control in July, and then in August we had a normal cycle. We wanted everything to be regular, and then in September we actually got pregnant. Unfortunately, that did end in a chemical pregnancy, and I am not a doctor, so definitely if you're going through something like that, talk to your OBGYN, talk to your doctor. But basically a chemical pregnancy is just an early miscarriage, so we lost that baby at like weeks 4 to 5. So that was a lot to take in if you've gone through a miscarriage, whether that be at week like 3, if you found out you were pregnant that early, or at week, 9 or something like that. Any miscarriage in general can really affect you mentally, emotionally, spiritually. So I'm not going to just reflect on the miscarriage part of it, but I just want to say if you have gone through any kind of miscarriage, my heart goes out to you. I'm praying for you, and you're going to get through it. I promise. So after that, we ended up finding an OB, and we started the process again of trying to have a baby. They said wait a cycle and then try to have a baby. So we had a normal cycle after the miscarriage, and then tried again and again and again and again. And after a year, we hit the year mark and we still weren't pregnant again. So we contacted my OB, and they went through all the testing. They made sure I was okay. They made sure my husband was okay. Everything came back normal. So they were like, it sounds like unexplained infertility. So we went through the process of using Clomid. If you guys don't know what Clomid is, it basically helps start your ovulation. And Clomid gave me pretty bad side effects, like to the point where I had really bad headaches. It was just a rough time. So we tried Clomid for a month, but the OB that I was currently at, they said they would need me to come in for blood work pretty much. I can't even remember, but like at day 3 or day 15, something along those lines, to make sure you had ovulated. And I was ovulating on my own. We found that out. And so we tried Clomid. We didn't get pregnant with it. We tried Clomid again. We didn't get pregnant with it. So we did not have the insurance at that time that covered infertility. And so we did not know that. So if you are trying to get pregnant and you're not aware of what your insurance covers, definitely check that out. We were blindsided with a lot of, doctor bills because the insurance said they wouldn't cover infertility. And that was a hard time. But we got through it. So they said they would do 3 rounds of Clomid, and then we would stop using Clomid, and they would refer me to a fertility specialist. So after 2 rounds of Clomid, we decided we couldn't afford it anymore. So we just stopped everything. I was taking a prenatal, and that's about it. So we started, trying again, and nothing happened. So about June of 2020, was it 2020? Yeah, June of 2020, we were referred to a fertility specialist. And that was hard. If you've ever been referred to a fertility specialist, it was hard in general, but it was hard. And we went to the fertility specialist. Again, they checked everything. Pretty much the OB had checked, and everything was fine. So she was like, you're in unexplained infertility, and I suggest you move to IUI. Now, if you guys don't know what an IUI is, an IUI is basically artificial insemination. It's not IVF. It does not cost as much as IVF. And we had different insurance in June 2020 than we did of like October of 2019. So we checked it with our insurance, and we saw that they cover fertility stuff. And we started the process of an IUI. Now, with IUIs, sometimes they will put you on medication that basically will, jumpstart ovulation, like Clomid. So she was like, I want to put you on Clomid, which I was like, oh my gosh, Clomid made me nuts the last time. So I was like, okay, we're getting on Clomid again. And I got on Clomid, and IUI is where your partner gives a sample, and they basically insert it inside of you and see if you can get pregnant. So I was on Clomid days 3 through 7, and I ovulated. I got a positive ovulation test, which I used the Pre-Mom one. Pre-Mom was amazing. So I highly recommend using them, especially the app on your phone really helps. So I was also, I want to mention this side note, I was always had a regular cycle. Never had any problems with that, so always was a regular cycle. So it never made sense why we couldn't get pregnant. So I took the Clomid, and I just had terrible migraines. Like, I pretty much stayed in my room with the blinds shut because the migraines were that bad. The blinds, the curtains, putting on a face mask to see if that would help. And so we went through that cycle, and we didn't get pregnant. Actually, the first IUI, we did non-medicated. The second IUI, we did Clomid. Still didn't work. The third IUI, we did letrozole or Femara, and I took that days 3 through 7. I thought with being on a new drug, we'd get pregnant. Third IUI, we tried, didn't get pregnant. So we were like, okay, obviously this is just, oh man, it's a roller coaster if you've never been through it, let me just tell you. And it just takes so much emotion on you. It also takes effect on your diabetes. Like, this is a diabetes channel. I'm not just trying to say all this for people that have fertility issues, but diabetes in general, it's a lot to handle. So taking diabetes and like watching your sugars, and for the most part on any of the medication that would jumpstart ovulation for me, I would never have any problems with my sugar. Now, if you are like me and you are female, usually around ovulation time or my period, you get higher sugars. That's just typically what it happened. And right before my period, I always would think when my sugars went higher, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm pregnant. My sugars are going out of whack. I'm pregnant. But I wasn't. So we are getting close to moving to Kentucky during this time. This is in November of 2020. And my husband just got a new job as a worship pastor. And we're like, okay, we only have like one more month of insurance. Like, good insurance. Like, we had really good insurance where my husband worked. And so I was like, well, do you want to try another IUI? Do you want to wait and just see what happens? We were also moving, so we were going to the Nashville Fertility Center in Nashville during that time because we were living in Tennessee. Highly recommend them. They are great doctors. They are there to help you and, just be open and honest with you. So when we went there, we were like, well, let's try the fourth one. So literally I took Femara again for the fourth one, days 3 through 7. My sugars were pretty normal. One of the things, being diabetic, they do want your A1C at like a 6 or below. Again, I'm not a doctor, so your doctor may say something different. But my endocrinologist, who I've been seeing for a while, knew we were trying to get pregnant, watched my sugars pretty good. If I told him hey, I need you to check in on my Dexcom. And I was also on the Omnipod pump whenever I tried to get pregnant too. I can't imagine trying to do shots. I know people do it all the time, but trying to do shots while trying to get pregnant, yeah, that just does not sound fun to me. But if you do shots, I commend you. Great job. If it's working for you, that's all that matters. But make sure your endocrinologist is aware of everything that you're doing fertility-wise, because it can affect your hormones. We also found out back in June when we first saw the fertility specialist, when they did all the blood work, that's when my thyroid went like out of whack. So that's when we found out I had Hashimoto's disease, which I'm super, super happy, and we're blessed that, we found out before we got pregnant that I had a thyroid issue, or that could have been really bad for the baby. So to say all that, kind of went on a win there. We decided to do a 4th IUI, and they watched my sugars again. They didn't make me come in for blood tests like my OBGYN had said. If you're on medication, you have to take medication, so I didn't have to go in. But we actually found out we were pregnant on Thanksgiving. And what's insane is that I told my husband the night before. We had been packing, and I don't know how you guys are with your diabetes, but with me, I've been pretty in tune with mine for a while. Also, my A1C was at like a 5, maybe a 5.1 whenever we found out we were pregnant. And I just knew something was wrong. Something with my sugars. I can't explain it. I legit cannot explain how weird it was. But I knew the night before. I told my husband, I said, we're pregnant. And he goes, no, you've said that before. And I was like, yeah, you're not wrong. I've said it before and we're not pregnant. But I legit knew we were pregnant. My sugars were low. Like, they were not high. I was constantly trying to keep them up. You guys know I'm really weird about having my sugars high anyways, but trying to keep them just normal, like trying to keep it above 70 was difficult. And I was like, something is up with my body. So on Thanksgiving, I took a pregnancy test. In fact, I took 3 and then I took 2 more. So just to make sure my husband, for sure knew, because he didn't believe it at first. So I took 5 pregnancy tests, and they were all positive. So we actually found out before 4 weeks we were pregnant, and that is pretty shocking, because most people don't find out till they experience their late period, which I found out at like 3 weeks and 5-ish days or something like that. So I found out before I missed my period, and we were so excited. We found out on Thanksgiving, and I told my sister, and we were just like, so excited. But that's how our story kind of began. And the only reason I'm making this video like this is to say, if you're going through fertility treatments in general, is you will get through it. Like, I know my channel isn't about fertility. I know my channel isn't about being a mom. I know my channel isn't about anything except like trying meters or being diabetic. But if you're going through fertility treatments, or you've gone through a miscarriage, or you're trying to have a baby with being diabetic, it's extra steps than just what a not diabetic person would have. Because you have to keep your sugars at a certain level, especially when you get pregnant. When you get pregnant, it is just like you are watched constantly with your sugars, because there's just so much with diabetes that a lot of us, even doctors, like we don't understand. And that's okay, but you want to keep your A1C in range. You've got to keep your sugars in range too, if you can. And a lot of things, what I've done from being pregnant and having diabetes is like, I've really watched what I'm eating. Like, I don't eat the foods, or if I do, it's very rarely, that I know is my trigger. And when I say trigger, I'm talking about like sweets or really, really, really fried food, or French fries. French fries really jack up my sugar. So I try to minimize that food that really causes me problems, because if it causes me problems, why put myself and my baby through that risk? That's how I feel about it. It's not worth it. So in the first trimester, which I'm going to make another video on it, because this video is already going pretty long, but I'll make another video on it, and I might do like a part 1 and part 2 kind of thing. Like, this would be my part 1, kind of how to where we started, and then I'll do like a first trimester, how did my sugars do in the first trimester, because it got a little crazy. But if you're going through hard times right now, know that you're not alone, because you're not. And feel free to reach out, to comment, anything, like this video if you want to, because it's a serious topic about fertility. It's a serious topic about diabetes. And it's even more serious of a topic to try to mix them both together, because diabetes can cause a lot of issues. Yeah, we are just so blessed from where we were to where we are now. And God's really provided for us. So if you're struggling, just know I'm praying for you. Just know you're going to get through it, and there's light at the end of the tunnel. I hope you guys like this video. Bye, guys.